Hello, welcome to Real Movie Reviews with your host, me, Luis Alvidres, and my buddy Luis Ramos. And today we'll be talking about a movie called It Follows.
It's an independent horror movie shot by David Robert Mitchell, who has shot previously 3 other movies: The Myth of the American Sleepover, Virgin, and Ella Walks the Beach. Unfortunately, I haven't had an opportunity to see those previous movies, and I just wanted to jump into It Follows. Kind of caught my attention, being that I am a horror fan. The movie itself opens it up to a young woman frantically running out of her house. The neighbors are talking, they're trying to reach out to her. She's in her sleepwear, has nowhere to go.
With some fancy hot heels.
Yeah, and we don't know where she's coming from. So she gets into the car. Her dad's yelling at her, and she drives off. So we're listening to this wonderful score by Richard Whelan, which
it's haunting.
Very haunting score. She's driving down a long road, ends up stopping at a remote area on a beach with the car. She steps out, runs to the beach, and she's looking around. She doesn't know something or someone is following her. We're not sure yet because we don't know, we don't see. But she's so upset. She calls her father. Her father picks up. She says, "Goodbye, I love you." Film goes to black, comes back, and there she is. She is brutally folded in half.
Yeah, man, that was pretty bad.
It's pretty disturbing. The film quickly switches over to 4 young friends hanging out, your typical high schoolers getting together. In the star of the show, Micah Monroe, which in the film is Jay, who's on a date with a guy named Hugh, acted by Jake Weary, and they're going to a movie. They're playing a game at the movies, and they're watching this movie, and Jake begins to freak out. He identifies someone that's not there. Jake can't see the person that Hugh's pointing out to. So from there, it goes on to this young girl who is sexually assaulted in a car after being drugged by Hugh and tied up in a wheelchair.
Yeah, I wouldn't say sexually assaulted. I would say it was consensual.
You're right, it was definitely consensual, but it looked like he had done it, he had planned the whole thing out to infect her with a supernatural parasite that's only transmitted through sex. Hugh shows her the entity, which can be anybody, anywhere, at any time. It is not a defined entity. She needs to get rid of the entity. He explains to her that she needs to go out and sleep around with everyone. So I'll leave you with that. I don't want to spoil the rest of the movie. So Danny, tell me what the listeners should expect when they go see this movie at the theater this weekend.
Yeah, don't go into this movie expecting to see a monster. The actual evil force or entity is actually takes appearance of multiple people. Every time you see this creature come onto screen, it'll either be a man, old lady, a young girl, but it does take one intimidating appearance. It comes out at you at one point as this giant man, and it's actually pretty scary. But I love the way he approached it. He didn't quite approach it like a lot of today's horror movies where they try to get you with these cheap scares with something jumping at you at the camera or a loud bang. He actually works the creep factor, and it's very helped by the score by Rich Whelan, where it just builds this tension and you're just waiting for this thing to show up in the background. Like you're just looking, it makes you play like a game of Where's Waldo, where you're looking, screening the whole background, waiting to see someone walking towards you. The art direction was great. I love the fact that you can't really tell what time it's taking place because he brings in a lot of new and old things into the movie. Like the way they dress, there's a very hipster but then very old, like 80s style. She wears those dresses. The way the cinematography's, put together, it's very, like, it plays homage a lot to the 80s, 90s. I love, there's one scene where they first introduce the kids, a group of friends, where they're watching an old black and white horror movie on an old tube TV, and it's actually sitting on an older TV, like used as a TV stand. I mean, That's how I grew up. I remember we had a TV and it broke down and the new TV went on top of it. Yeah, like if you want to see something different, fresh in a way where it hasn't been done for a while. All right. So what do you think, Luis?
As the movie developed on and after the movie theater scene and after she has sex, I started to lose it a little bit once the monster did come out. You don't really see it. It's just a unidentified entity, but it does have a shape. It was interesting how he didn't stick with the beginning where we didn't see anything. I was expecting that. I'm not sure if you were expecting that, but I was thinking more of we're never going to be able to identify this entity and it's just going to get her. I think when it was moving towards the end of the film, the actors did lose me. Not so much Makia Monroe, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing her first name, it's very unique. But Miss Monroe, except for her, the other actors really didn't do it for me. I think that towards the end I lost it. They didn't make me believe that they were scared. It was the middle of the movie that the young man and the young girl saw this, but they still made me feel like they were calling her a liar, even though they actually witnessed. He had scars on his belly, and things going on that he actually felt, where the young lady was telling him, hey, I see this. Then he sees it, doesn't see it, but feels it, but yet the actor didn't use his, I personally think didn't use his skills, in my opinion, to push that point across, to get those emotions out there. I can't knock it for the necessary for the direction. The direction was well done. There was some great shots in there, great scenes. I saw a lot of old horror movies in the director's shooting, a lot of scenes that could have been shot earlier in other movies that are well known, and especially the scene where she looks out her window to see her friend in the other house, and she calls him and there's no answer. I kid you not, I had a deja vu of Nightmare on Elm Street. She calls over there, looks out the window, and the mom with the nightie, it was amazingly done. It was a good way, a slight way, I think. He may have not done it intentionally, but it sure looked like it to me from watching it. I think the film ended well. Like I said, the acting just fell short for me. But The directors did have a haunting vision with the music. Great choice. I hope to see more from him, and I hope to see more horror movies from him. I think he's on a good path.
Well, that concludes our review to It Follows. Thank you for listening to Real Movie Reviews with your host, me, Luis, and my buddy Luis. And stay tuned for some new reviews coming up. And also check out our other show, The Martin Lewis Show. All right, thank you again, subscribers, and we hope to get some more. And you guys have a great day. Bye.